Hello everybody and welcome back to the Recut Foreskin. My name is Jake and I'll be your waiter this evening.
That's right, serve them you little bitch.
Dude, Ricky told you to stop swearing. We're not gonna get monetized at this rate.
Who cares what Ricky says, we barely made it this far anyway.
Can you please just hit the intro so we can get...
Great moves, Jake. Keep it up.
Cannot stand him sometimes. Now, normally I try to make funny ha-has on this channel. I'm not sure how many funnies or ha-has will be in this video, but here's a clip.
If Jesus Christ became atheist, which is the weirdest sentence I've ever said in my life.
It's probably not as funny as I give it credit for, but man, is it a funny thought. Anyway, so you're probably familiar with this guy. He's Socal Jesus. He's an actor on YouTube and on Fiverr, pretends to be Jesus for a little bit of cash. He's known for making videos on Fiverr and YouTube. PewDiePie featured him in a video a couple years ago that really blew him up. Recently, he uploaded a video to his YouTube channel asking his fans for help and support fighting a custody battle. Now, you may also be familiar with a channel called the Rewired Soul, a channel dedicated for the most part to talking about mental health and addiction, using specifically YouTube situations for the most part as examples for a greater conversation. Now, while I fully support that, and I think for most part what he's doing is a great thing, I feel like sometimes he does overreach, which is why I'm making this video. I think what I'm about to talk about it was completely avoidable, and I will explain a little bit further as we wrap the video up. Now, I can very much appreciate how Chris tries to approach these topics, and I can also very much appreciate how difficult it must be to take on the amount of backlash you're going to receive from a lot of these topics, because no matter how you talk about them, you're going to receive criticism and backlash. These are all fine detail situations where you can only really generalize so much, which is why he uses examples. But here he's making specific statements about Jesus and what he said that I don't agree with. I myself was and still am a little bit skeptical about Jesus's actual situation, which sucks because I really don't have a reason to be. I think it's just because there's been so many scams in the news lately. Anyway, the Rewired Soul, aka Chris, did not call out Jesus, or at least that wasn't his intention. He directly said what he believes is manipulation may be unintentional.
My motives, I believe, are in the right place when talking about this. I want to make it very, very clear, okay? If you want to donate to him, do it, okay? I just want to put everything out on the table so you can make an informed decision, because I personally feel that he's misleading some people, and it might be unintentional.
My video is for the same purpose as the video in question, clarification of statements more or less. Also, hopefully a better understanding. As per usual, I will be shortening clips to save time, and I will be doing my best to maintain all context that is important to those clips, and I will be linking to both videos in the description below, just in case there's any confusion.
We went and we watched Jesus's first video, and we watched, and he says this.
I was raised in a highly controlled religious group. Some people call it a cult. Although I was able to escape the control of this organization, my kids have not.
So first off, Jesus never actually calls it a cult. He says some would call it a cult. Some would call the Catholic Church a cult as well. That doesn't mean I just called it a cult. It's a fact that some people would call it a cult. Now, there's a couple of reasons that Jesus may have actually included this. It may be just manipulation. People that he knows may actually have referred to it as a cult. It's also likely that he may just view them as being so strict that it borders on being cult-like. Now, multiple times in this video, Chris repeats that there are aspects of Mormonism that are cult-like.
I have my issues with the Mormon religion. I think the Mormon religion is like a cult in some cases. Just so you all know, there is a branch of the Mormon religion which is called FLDS, I believe, and I think that's more on the cult side.
In this clip in particular, he's actually talking about a denomination of Mormonism, which is a group or an organization within the religion. It even says denomination in the information that he shows on screen, so his claim that Jesus called Mormonism a cult seems reckless to me. Ryan from Crimson Studios shared a little bit about his history with Mormonism, and also more or less essentially echoed Chris's statements about the cult-like aspects of Mormonism.
I personally do not believe that the Mormon Church is a cult. There's a pretty fine line between being a cult and then having cult-like tendencies. And I think the Mormon Church has cult-like tendencies up the wazoo.
I mean, just about any religion is going to have at least a few. Heck, almost any group of more than 10 people is going to have a few of those cult-like aspects. But the claim here is that Jesus called Mormonism a cult.
When Jesus Christ is calling the Mormon religion a cult,
keep in mind, he never once even mentions the religion he was in.
I was raised in a highly controlled religious group. Some people call it a cult.
He only later suggests a book about the doubts Mormons may have and what the book's writer claims were the answers to those doubts. Now, I don't know enough about the book or its author to know if the book is propaganda or an actual honest testimony from a former Mormon, a scorned believer, if you will. But this is the only mention of the actual religion. Real quick little editor's note, I don't know why the book was included. I could only assume that it was because he thought it may help people that were in a similar situation to him. The book seemed to anger Chris because he references it as being one of the triggers for him making the video.
And in his most recent video, he pointed out this book. It was called like CES, and that's when I got the motivation. I'm like, dude, I gotta make a video on this because for me, it's not cool.
Now, the problem is that the book was not mentioned in the video that we're talking about here. It was mentioned in the follow-up video, a thank you video. So it almost seems like Chris has taken one statement about a book that helped him and it happens to be about Mormonism, and knowing the fact that he was a Mormon, and then applying what he said about a religious organization that some would call a cult, taking those two statements, adding them together to equal one new statement that was never said by anybody. So to claim that he called the entire Mormon religion a cult seems not only inaccurate, but a little bit aggressive, especially given that he may have intentionally not named the religion so that no one thought he was calling it a cult.
The way Jesus Christ presented it was that his kids are currently in a cult and he needs to rescue them from that situation.
No, the way he presented it was that his family are in and using a highly controlling religious group that he was raised in against him in a custody battle. Again, he himself never said it was even a cult. Now, taking this to mean that his kids are in a cult and he can't get them out without
your credit card number
is entirely your perception of what was said and not what he actually said. Meaning this requires you to, at the very least, be assuming that he is talking about the entire religion, and then you would also have to be assuming that when he said he's losing his custody, that he's trying to gain full custody to get them out of the cult. Neither of which does he say at all. If it was about rescuing them from a cult, he would have said that, wouldn't he? He specifically states that his family and ex-wife are working with the organization to try and take away his custody. According to his video, that's what he's fighting for. Chris also mentions that from his experience, there are issues within the church of racism and homophobia, but not everybody in the church is like that, and not every aspect of the Mormon church is going to treat people negatively.
And the Mormon religion is very anti-LGBTQ, but not all at all.
He's very clear that it's not the entire religion, just some people within it. Now, he keeps going to this, it's not the entire religion, though, thing, right? But then, he's assuming, at least seems to be, that what Jesus is saying is about the entire religion. Even though Jesus never specified the religion, I guess he was supposed to clarify that it wasn't the entire religion he was talking about. He never even said it was the religion at fault, he said it was the organization. Now, I highly doubt that anyone went so far as to assume that he was talking about the entire religion, and that the entire religion was trying to take his kids away. He was pretty specific that it was an organization. Now, it could be an organization within a church or within a religion. He was never specific. Prime example, Westboro Baptist Church, known for doing things like protesting a soldier's funeral, among many other horrible things. They're a very hateful organization within the Baptist religion. Now, this may come as a shock to you, but not every Baptist church within the Baptist denomination of the Christian religion is this insane and hateful. As a single church that stands out within the denomination of Baptist, you would call them an outlier. Just as Westboro Baptist Church, while an extreme example, is an example of an outlier, you never know if the Mormon church that he was a part of was also an outlier, and as such could very well be a very manipulative, controlling, and cult-like church. And as Chris, Ryan, and myself have already pointed out, there are cult-like aspects to Mormonism as well as other religions already. We also don't know that there's not a clique in the church, an inner circle, if you will. Every church I've ever been a part of as a Christian, there was always an inner circle, the older and normally more devout believers within the church. Now, from my experience, normally this group of people tend to kind of lead the church, and if they are a particularly controlling or manipulative group, you know, it could end badly, especially if his parents are in that group. Older generations are known to be steadfast in their ideals and less willing to accept new information than younger people, very much in general. And churches, just like any group of people, are fallible. Over the years as a child, my family was kicked out of multiple Protestant churches over minor disagreements with the behavior of the pastor. The pastors then typically organized their friends, the inner circle within the church, and spread nasty rumors, untrue rumors about our family in an attempt to make us outcasts. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know Socal Jesus' real life situation. As I've said, I am skeptical of it myself. But Chris, while meaning well, seems to be assuming a lot of things and repeatedly stating them throughout this video, using them as fact. Now, he does like to use anecdotes from his experience in life to help shape his opinion and help really explain what his viewpoint is and where it comes from. But I feel like about 50% of this video was spent telling his audience how what Jesus said was wrong. As I said, I definitely think there's a way to have this conversation without putting the blame on Jesus for things he never actually said. He could have still made that video without making it about Jesus saying something he didn't actually say. For example, instead of acting like Jesus actually called Mormonism a cult, he could have very easily said something along the lines of, at first, it may sound like Jesus called Mormonism a cult. Then he could have had the exact same conversation, but without all of this claiming that Jesus said something he never actually said. He is right, however, that PewDiePie did claim on his video that what Jesus said was that he was raised in a cult. Thankfully, however, PewDiePie's editors put the entire clip in where he says that he was raised in a highly controlled religious group that some might call a cult. So when it comes to all these people that are reaching out to YouTubers saying, oh, Jesus was raised in a cult, they're wrong. They're wrong. He never said that. They're taking his words with their own understanding and perception of what he said, and that's what they're basing that off of. Now, like I said, this isn't supposed to be some kind of massive criticism or an attack against him. I honestly do believe that what Chris does is very beneficial, given how many people are affected negatively by social media and could definitely benefit from at least having someone that they feel is talking through something with them, having a conversation with them about this stuff. It's definitely good, I think, to have people that are just having a conversation and they're not trying to necessarily put somebody down. This video may have come off as some kind of attack or some kind of really harsh criticism, and that was not my intention. I honestly do believe that what he's doing is for the best, or at least that he's trying to do the best, and I appreciate that. And that's all we can really hope for, is that people are trying to do the best with their content. Whether your content be strictly to educate or entertain or whatever, that all you can really do is hope that they do the best. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tom, take us out.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like it if you liked it and put the lime in the coconut and shake it all up.